Welcome to another baby theater. So, our hero Sluggery melted his face off with the sun because he kept it in his pocket. He had to blot out the sun so that he could find the treasure chest, obviously. And then, he put his face back on and he realized that he liked getting his face melted off. It was pretty, like a fun time for him. Like, actually, he was pretty happy with it, And so he's pretty excited to open this chest. He opened it, and then guess what? There was gold in it. There was gold. You know what gold is? It's the gold standard. But to Sluggery, they don't use gold as a currency. So it might as well have been coal. Use it to, what? Light a fireplace open, Like, use it to train, use it to create a train, and choo-choo. Can't even do that, because it's not coal. Coal's more valuable than gold in this realm, So, anyway, what ended up happening is now, Sluggery was disappointed, sure. But now, it's time to go home, Sluggery says, It's time for Sluggery to go home. And Sluggery really wanted to go home. He really, he had his adventure. He experienced new things, But now, it was time to go home. Now, here's the problem. So, he couldn't find the path back. He thought he knew where to go, see? He thought he knew where to go, but he didn't know. He had no idea. So he tried to go up, and then he tried to go down, and then he tried to go left, and then he tried to go right. But the thing about it was, he didn't know directions. He didn't know directions. It could have been up and down, didn't know. Whenever he went up, he went down. Whenever he went left, he went right. So he actually went the complete opposite way that he was supposed to go, because he didn't know how to direct. He didn't know what a direction was, and so he ended up at a castle, and he'd never seen this castle before. He'd never passed it, and he really expected that since he turned around, which would be forward, that he would end up at home. But instead, he ended up in a castle. And it's crazy. At the castle. So, he ended up at this castle. And he said he heard this faint sound, right? He heard this faint sound. And you know what it sounded like? It sounded like the mash. Was the monster mash? He did the mash. It was a graveyard smash. He did the mash. It was gone within a flash. He did the mash. He did the monster mash. It grew louder and louder as Sluggery got closer and closer, right? And, what was this? What was the sound? I don't understand, right? Now, the thing about it is, they've taken a pretty hefty toll on themselves, Last time, these vampire hunters, they tried to come after, Dracula and all this kind of stuff. And Dracula, he ended up surviving, no problem. But a lot of his buddies were killed drastically, And so they were really on high alert at this point. But they were still singing the Monster Mash. You can't let a bad experience bring you down, right? So they continued to do their good old singing, their good old songing, and the singing, songing, and the action. And they were really happy about it. They were like, it's time to do the mash, bash, 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 monster mash, mash, mash. And the skeletons, there were a few skeletons because, okay, here's the thing. A few people died, Dracula, I don't think Dracula died. He's alive. But a lot of people died. like the lizard man, and I think the werewolf died, you know, and I mean Wolfman, he died, and what happens is when they die, they actually turn into skeletons, okay, and so they're not actually dead, they're just skeletons. Sometimes even spooky ghosts. But then the skeletons were like, spooky, scary skeletons climbed up your spine. Spooky, scary skeletons just won't leave you be, right? And so, yeah. So, kind of like, when your best friend is like, yo, dude, what's up? And you're like, yo. It's kind of like that same feeling. They're back, It's like, Wolfman. And Wolfman kind of thought about it. He thought about it better than he did before. And, he had a better decision, than he usually did. And so, yeah, it was kind of like, what are you going to do, Yeah. 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 Yeah, it's okay. Everything's good, buddy. Yeah. All right. And so, yeah, he did the mash, Want some more? No? Okay. Yeah? Okay. And so, he did the monster mash. And anyway, there were like all kinds of skeletons around now. All his buddies came back and had a good time. And then, so Sluggery was like, "Yo, dude, I'm lost," and they were on pretty high alert. Okay, so all of a sudden, their security system kicked in, and then you got two arrows. They started shooting straight for his eyes, and then all of a sudden, he dodged out of the way, the quickest of ease. It was more like this, though. He like predicted that they'd be there. They whipped right by. No problem. No problem. Whipped right by, no issues. And then, what ended up happening is, Dracula saw this and was like, "Oh man, what an awesome person! He just was able to dodge those arrows so fast. He must be a vampire, And Dracula came over and said, "Yo, are you you want to join a club?" Dracula said, "You want to join a club?" "Oh yeah," he said, like, "Oh yeah, do you want to join a club? Oh, hmm." And Sluggery was like, "Nah, I'm good. I'm good." And Dracula was like, "Blah," and Dracula was like, "Oh, well, why don't you join me and we'll have a little bit of an army." Army? I don't know. I'm not really interested in joining an army. Sorry, dude. He says, "Oh no! I meant a party. Yes, party. 'Cause you see, we do the mash. We do the monster mash. We do the mash. It's a graveyard smash, and really, I mean, I'll tell you, it is really the Transylvania twist." And they added a little bit to it, and It's really Transylvania twist. So, I made it. It was a Transylvania twist when I found it, and then they kind of ruined it a little bit, calling it the Monster Mash, but, yes. And so Sluggery kind of felt bad. He's like, man, they like ruined your song, dude. Like, that's like a #1 hit single, where I come from. Transylvania Twist is like all over the radio. He says, you sang that? You were like a singer? You're like as big as Ariel right now. And he says, whoa, Ariel? Who was Ariel? And he said, well, Ariel's this hard rocker. And she says, she's awesome. Best record I've ever had. Best record ever. And so, but it's really on par with your stuff. I mean, you're kind of like second place, but I mean, this is pretty good. It's pretty good. And, Dracula was like understanding. He's like, oh, well, yeah, Ariel. Okay, well, I get it. Sometimes you have better things than me, I guess. Well, why don't you join me? I need your permission for you to join me, he says. Well, all right. And Dracula just bites his neck real quick. And then, he's like, oh, ha, ha, ha. And then, Sluggery's like, what the hell? What are you doing, man? That's messed up. He's like, well, yeah, you're right. Here. Let me apologize with this drink. And so Sluggery drinks it. Yeah, it was a blood, dude. So now Sluggery's a vampire. See, blah. And Dracula is like, blah. You're gonna be a vampire now, blah. So Sluggery's a vampire now. And he says, well, look, I all of a sudden he says, wait, I want to go right. Oh, I want to go left. Oh, I want to go up. I want to go down. Oh, and now Sluggery knows what direction to go, because he's a vampire, and vampires know what direction they're going. So then he says, okay, I'm going home, Dracula. He says, you're sure you don't want to stay for some Transylvania twist? And Sluggery's like, nah, dude. Nah, I'm good. So he starts walking home. So he comes to this, he gets pretty far. He's he finds the path. He starts walking home. And then he gets to the path. And he's like, finds it. And then he gets to the bridge that he burned down. He says, oh no, I forgot to burn this crap down. And then he says, well, how am I going to get across? Well, guess what? What can vampires do? He's a bat now, right? He's a bat. And he flies over because he's a bat. And then once he gets across, boom, he's just Sluggery again. He starts heading back home. Yeah, see? He was like that. Yeah, good job. Yeah, he did that. He got all the way back home, and Timothy was there, and Tomothy was there. And everybody's happy. What a good ending. Oh, yeah, and then he said, Tomothy, good recommendation on getting my face melted off. It was fun. And Tomothy said, yeah, you're right. It is fun. It's fun. I'm glad you got your face back on.